Hey guys, welcome back. The biggest Chia FUD on the world, a poor investor, and of course we have Chris over here. And if you guys don't know who Chris is, he's like a legend. First lawsuit ever that I know of that Chia put on into the market was against this man right here. And a lot of you guys probably don't know who he is only because he hasn't been really active in the scene. And I don't blame him because a lot of people dropped off from Chia, but he's definitely here to speak a little bit more, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself now. So, Chris, welcome back to the show. And I appreciate you always coming back and giving us great insight into the world of Chia. So,
Well,
how do
thanks for having me. But before we start, I
Mhm.
know Chia watches this show. They hate watch it for sure. You can tell. And so before we start, I want to speak directly to them. Chia Network, I demand you pay me 50 to $100 million in unmarked currency, or I will destroy your little blockchain project. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for having me,
Not a
man.
problem. That was awesome. That was awesome. And I honestly, I don't think he's even joking. He may be laughing, but he's not joking. So,
No, they could definitely pay me $50 million. I'll take it. I
Chris,
mean, sure.
there,
What a nice ask.
I know. It's been a long journey, and I feel
Yeah,
like
well,
a lot of things have changed. I want to ask this first question to you. Do you still feel that Chia is green?
no.
And can you elaborate a little bit more on why that is?
Well, so it's okay. To step back a second, right? It was green. It was always positioned sort of alternatively to Ethereum, right? As like a programmable blockchain that enterprises could use, blah, 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 the whole sales pitch. But in that time, Chia has done nothing. Chia has become more compute intensive, both through compression and then they just changed the plot filter. So it's like double the compute now, just regularly. Um, so they've become sort of quote unquote less green.
Mm,
And Ethereum has completed the merge to proof of stake, which I think is junk, but like from a environmental perspective, significantly more green. It's just virtual machines now. It's no longer anything to do with GPUs or anything like that. It's just virtual machines. So that argument, I think, is gone, and it is impossible to get back. It is simply from an environmental perspective, not the greenest solution. You must, if you're going to make that argument, argue against Ethereum as a cryptocurrency at all, basically. And
right.
that seems like a silly argument. Like they made that argument against Solana and things like that. And since that's junk, nobody cared.
Hmm.
But, Ethereum is basically the market leader. I have my opinions. I think, again, probably that mirror Chia's a lot, but who cares? I'm me. No one gives a shit what I think. It's about the market, and the market has spoken.
Right.
And the merge took away the argument against Ethereum, which was the environmental impact, right? Like that was effectively the main argument,
Hmm.
even though arguably the security nightmare that is the smart contract ecosystem and all that is a bigger deal. But it's quote unquote green now. So I don't
Right.
know where that leaves Chia. I don't know if they know that where that leaves Chia,
Mm.
right? Like I haven't really heard them address that point at all. I don't know if they have. Maybe they have. They rant in Discord a lot, but like I don't know that they've addressed that directly. That from a pure numbers perspective, they're not green anymore.
Right.
They're
Right.
just middle of the pack from a proof of work perspective, especially since to be competitive, you need GPUs now. Like I went away for like a year and a half, and then suddenly I come back and people are buying like 4090s and
Yeah,
stuff for farming.
exactly.
And it's like,
Intense
oh
GPUs,
brother,
let alone like, it's not like a 1660 or something like that. You have to
yeah,
buy the high end stuff in order to
and run it hard.
right. Right.
Yeah. So
So, okay.
like, what was your power footprint? Like, did you put some GPUs into your farm and compressed plots and stuff?
Never. Never. I
Never, eh?
haven't ever since they got to that point, I said I'm not doing it because
Like in
I
my Discord there, that's
mhm.
picking up steam as they lose it, I guess. There's a lot of people there that are shutting their farms down for like heat reasons and
Oh,
power
yeah,
reasons.
definitely. Right.
Like because it's summer now, and the last summer I don't think they had a pile of GPUs in there, compressing
Not
stuff. So,
not yet, not to this extent. No. Definitely
yeah,
not to this extent. I believe there was, the Mad Max that existed, and they did have some type of compression that required a lower level GPU, but not to where they are today, with talking about 4090s and possibly even like 5090s going forward. So
Man,
uh,
anybody that buys hardware right now for
right.
this,
Oh,
like
oh, yeah, I agree.
I
I totally
I
agree.
have no comment on that mental state, but
Right.
that's why I mean I started off this with a joke, but uh there's that post on Chia forum, right? That's
hmm
like
Which
uh
I will bring up shortly because I really
yeah,
want to
I want to
discuss that
talk to
with
you
you.
about
Yeah.
that. So maybe you should do your cut to Chia forum
Oh yeah,
uh
definitely. So,
demand letter here.
but before I do that, I have another question for you.
Oh,
Is now in regards to the Chia white paper, where do you stand, or where do you believe they have diverted away from what they initially stated in the white paper, and why
I
does it
think that
not even matter at this point on what they said in the white paper?
so it's been a long time since I've read it because who
Mm-hmm.
cares at this point?
Right.
But I would say that regardless of if they have been careful to keep to the letter of things and then change it because they did change it at one point to change how they could use the pre-farm and everything well before they started selling it. Uh, and as long, they might have kept to the legal letter and you know if and maybe load bearing coulds and stuff like that, right? Like they could have kept to the letter of the law there, but I
Yeah.
think it's pretty clear that they have abandoned the spirit that they promised the people in the community at the very beginning, the way that they would operate the business, the direction that they would head as a company.
Right.
uh like I swear, and again, I don't have proof of this, and I might even have proof of this, but I don't have it accessible or care to look. But I'm sure I remember them saying that they would like shut down the company before they sold the pre-farm, and they didn't want to, you know,
I do recall them saying something
they
along the
were
lines,
very explicit with colorful language, and I don't
right,
remember the
that
exact
they would
nature of that
never
color.
sell the pre-farm.
Exactly, that
Never
was
sell the
very
pre-farm.
clear. And now they're in here defending it, saying it has no effect on price, which is just stupid, like
Well, that's
mathematically stupid.
right.
Like,
That's the
obviously,
problem. It's
yeah.
not just them defending it. You have other individuals that are defending their reasoning for selling the pre-farm. Meanwhile, these are like sort of like newcomers or into the scene that like, oh, how else do you expect them to survive?
Every butt's got a
Well,
snicker, man. Like these, like I don't know. I think there are people that are really in it and are like the sunk cost fallacy for them is that if the bubble pops, they have nothing. Like the value of what they have now is low, but
right,
it could still increase. But
right,
if the bubble pops and it becomes just known that this is garbage, and I'm not saying it is, but if that were to be the outcome, then
right.
their everything they would put in would be zero. It's not even like mining some crap Ethereum clone or whatever that you can switch to some other one. Like if Chia goes, the whole setup is useless. You're sitting on this pile of used hard drives that are like 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sucks. And people put a lot of money into this, like six figures in some cases, regardless of whether Chia told them to or not. And they're
Right,
responsible for that. They understand that. Most of the people I talk to don't whine about it. They
right.
have strong criticism and then are upset that bad choices were made that affected their investment. And had a good choice been made, their investment would be secure. But those people exist. They've lost a lot of money. They're not
Right.
treated very well by the Chia staff and executives when they do have questions in Discord or do try to talk to the company, um, which I kind of get. If I was
Right.
a small business owner running a failing business, selling crap tokens on the internet to survive, I would also be in a bad mood and not want people asking questions about it. But I probably
Oh,
wouldn't run a public
definitely.
Discord either.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So
But
I don't know if you see my shared screen right now. I'm just
I do, yeah, I think it's good.
all right, I'm just making sure that let me just expand this a little bit more, and we'll talk a little deeper into why we're on this call today because I felt like in a long time I have not seen anything that was worth speaking about for the longest time. Okay. Besides Mr. BW Free shutting down his large, excessive farm, I thought that was worth a at least a video to discuss. And I think a lot of people agree that if you see someone that large with that much investments into something like this, and they're turning away because they feel like it's not doing them any good at this point, that's worth a note at least. Do
I
you?
think that that's another totally interesting situation because I think that he even wouldn't have turned away had they been willing to have a frank conversation with the community about where things are at. Like if they'd have been like, yeah, what we've been doing hasn't been working and this is our plan to turn things around or whatever, I think he probably would have bought more hard drives. Like,
Right. Right.
you know, like,
Exactly. Which he has
yeah.
been. And I think the Chia network or maybe someone really specific has given him an impression that, it's sort of very, how do you say, like, it's not like you're part of a family. It's more like you're constantly being scolded by someone, like a father figure or something, you
Oh,
know?
I remember. They tried with me for like years to like
Oh,
put me in my place, but
trust me, I know, and I still bear it sometimes. I still
well,
go
they
through it, but I ignore most of it because I know how to deal with things like that because to me it's like it's a joke. But no,
yeah.
they definitely like to rip into a lot of people who are not believers.
Yeah, which is hilarious because they criticized that about crypto at the beginning. But anyway,
Right, right.
that was one of their main arguments about like not being like other crypto companies. Now they're
So
exactly like other crypto companies.
exactly, exactly, and there was some post of people saying like this is the slowest rug pull that will ever happen. I think you even on your Discord someone mentioned that as well, or even I don't even know if it was I forgot who
I
it was, but it
It's a
was
rug shift. Let's call it a rug
just shifting the
shift.
rug a little bit, and everyone gets all jagged up or
Everybody's
something.
dancing on the rug and they keep like, giving it a little yank from time to
Right,
time,
right,
once a month to the tune of $1 million, which like apparently there's just an infinite amount of liquidity in the XCH system that they can just, sell $1 million a month without any impact on the
right.
anything, which
That's
is
only if
what
the price stays the way it is, because, as the price drops more and more, they have to sell more in order to make that $1 million a month.
well, until there's a chart in my Discord. I don't even have Discord on this computer, but there's a
Okay.
chart in my Discord that shows like it matching sort of roughly evenly against
How much
Bitcoin
it
until
would
it
drop.
started selling
Right.
the pre-farm, and then it diverges. Like
Mm.
Bitcoin started to race 7 months ago, and Chia sort of stayed flat. That had a bump during the halving or whatever, and people got all excited for a little bit, but no, it clearly has had an effect. Like you can watch it on a chart. Like it's just an obvious lie. Like I don't know why you
Right.
would say it's a lie.
Exactly. So again, like I was saying, there was a lot of things that were happening within the Chia, fantasy world that I really didn't feel like there was a lot of, reasoning to make videos and talk about it. So, but until this morning, and 21 hours ago exactly, on the Chia forum, and this is an individual that's actually on the Discord as well. But he also stated, now I don't know if it's a he, it could be a she as well, because people have been looking for profiles for this certain
I don't
individual.
know a
We don't.
lot of women this delusional, so this feels like a dude, man.
All right. Okay. I mean, that's reasonable. And the point was this person was muted or banned on the original keybase of Chia for whatever reason, and I'm sure that was
Well,
happening a lot.
they used to ban a lot of people and then just say it was a Bob alt, right? Remember that?
Right.
They used to just
Yes.
like this one person. They were like, "This is a Bob alt." I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's
They
banning
they
people.
they always had their own reasoning, and
But then this guy says he was banned 3 times, so that's like three alts. So like I don't know. like,
but
like admitting to ban evasion, like they don't want to talk to you, don't talk to them.
right. And but I don't know. Now here's one thing before we get into this actual article, and he's obviously he mentions somewhere in here that loot made me think that he's within probably even in China. All right, or at least in that realm for whatever reason. I don't know what it was specifically, but it just felt like the way he was speaking and the things that he was mentioning, that it kind of just went into the diversion. I felt like it was someone or possibly somewhere in China that he's speaking all
Yeah,
about this
maybe.
for
Yeah.
Chia, right? And the reason why I say that is because I started thinking, like, Chia farmers, supposedly China has the biggest footprint. And,
Makes
there's
sense.
a lot of mass production of hard drives and storage, third party, or even companies that we never even heard of,
Yeah.
producing these storages and possibly using this to their advantage for farming Chia. And very easily, any one of these manufacturer farms, I say farms for hard drives, and then using that ability to farm XCH, creating numerous numbers of farms, like, new clients, new farmer clients on the network. So let's just say one hard drive manufacturing company can produce like 2,000 different, farmers. And you wouldn't know that, right? I
Oh,
mean, unless
yeah.
you start sourcing back their original IP addresses to see where the hell they're coming from. But for the most part, you would not know. They're probably pushing out 3,000 farmers for all we know. And that's how they, So somewhere along the lines, this alluded to me that, maybe this is possible. But even though he has stated that he's been banned numerous times, he voiced his, he said a couple things on Discord, which is similar to this entire post. Now, I read this entire post. This post was long. For him to
Oh,
sit
yeah.
through this just to write this post was impressive on its own, regardless if he had any proof of any of this. All right, to fabricate a story like this, and I say story, but it was very detailed. I felt like it
There's a
has a
narrative.
right. There definitely is a narrative, and it points out a lot of flaws within Chia that he's trying to address. So
Oh
give
yeah,
me
I
give me
agree with a
your
lot of the
thoughts.
background, but like I think that he put more effort into this post than he did into the math for whatever he's doing here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always skeptical about people that make big claims, right? So including Chia, like, but also including people like this. I was skeptical of no SSD. They turned out to be legit. So there's definitely a possibility that this guy could be legit.
Right.
He admits that it's not perfect and that it's compiling, that he's still working on it basically, but that he's got a pretty good sense of what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Max talks throughout the thread,
Right.
uh doesn't address any of the real technical issues other than to vague, like I think they talk about it a little in high level a little bit.
But I
um
want to point out something as well.
yeah,
Now, I know Max. I speak to Max. I'm not saying
yeah,
that, he's definitely capable to understand all this
yeah,
beyond, for how far I can take it. But he also was very skeptical of no SSD, doubted no
yeah,
SSD, and
yeah.
look what they have
Well,
become.
but so he was skeptical about no SSD, but he also tested it. So I was skeptical about no SSD until uh Max tested, and I spoke to him and he said, I think it works.
Right.
Their no SSD also came out with in a worse way. So their binaries that they released were very suspicious. They had built them with like a torrent client and a compiler and like a whole bunch of they basically looked like a malware distribution system,
Right.
which was probably not their intent. It was probably just like from not cleaning tools up.
Yeah.
But it was. So like I reversed the binary, that was true.
Okay.
It had the
But it
components,
was
and
closed source, right? It's
yeah,
no
so I had to
SSD is
reverse the
closed source.
binary to
Right.
get all
Exactly.
that.
But
Yeah,
in this narrative, it's going to be
there's
open
nothing like
source,
that. Yeah.
right? He wants to negotiate with Chia, right? Now, how much he's asking for, I feel like it's irrelevant at this point, but we'll speak about that in a little later.
Okay. I think it speaks to lots, but anyway. I
So,
also want to talk about how he has addressed doing that. Uh,
right.
which is another thing, because I think that there's some smoke and mirrors there which make me suspicious immediately.
Well, there's a couple of things that he said that or this person said I feel like, makes sense to me at least, right? He says that, Chia's way of addressing this whole grinding of plots is to create a new plot again. And how far can you really take that opposed to addressing it head on where it matters the most? Now, I don't understand what he's getting at that particular point, but
I
that's
go back to the XKCD thing where it's like there are 14 different standards so like the solution to this is the new standard. It's like, why would your solution also be immune to that, right? So
Right. Right.
yeah,
Exactly. So, and then he mentions here that, there was failed negotiations with Mad Max. Right. For whatever reasons. And he also mentioned that, the supposedly Chia was supposed to be community driven, community, developed. But at the same time, Chia suppresses you. That's what his words, not mine. Chia, in a way, suppresses all that if they're not keen on adapting you. Do you believe in what he was saying there? I mean,
oh,
that's what I
like
gathered from that.
100%. I also think a lot of it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
I think that their negotiation with Max was doomed to fail, and and I think that Max has proven that the value he's been able to extract for himself from there has been many times higher than I think Chia would have even been in a position to offer him, let alone
Right.
like want to, right? I think he's made millions off of his plotter, right?
Oh,
Like
I'm
that.
sure. Yeah.
I think someone at some point said that his like reward address, like his was one of the top reward
Wow.
addresses. He was getting
I
like
I don't blame him.
XCH a day.
If
So
I was in his position, I would want Chia to prosper as well.
sure, of course, he's like obviously
Yeah.
it's better for him. Um and I mean we're not here to talk about Max so much, but like
Right.
his bias has always been towards confidence,
Mm-hmm.
not away from anything else. And I think that most of his issues with Chia have
But
been similar to mine.
but
That
this is
they're
my
like,
point, Chris.
yeah,
My point is that the community itself is looking at Max for validation of any newcomer into
well,
the
sure.
technology,
Where's Brand?
but not Chia. How do you explain that?
Well, what's Chia gonna do? They're gonna trash it. They're gonna say some stuff nobody believes because they say the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're gonna be haughty about how much better they are than everybody else and smarter.
Right.
Um, and now this is stupid. And then, like Max says, even in the comments, then they're going to immediately try to steal the idea. So
Right. Right. Right.
because that's what they did to him and to I think I don't know. I don't actually know all the details for this stuff. I don't want
Right.
to
So
but
beyond the few points that I mentioned about being more green, having negotiations with Chia, targeting a different formatting of plots that wouldn't be compromised later on. Then he also starts listing out the details of some of the requirements for it, which is a lot less than what's being asked for at the current moment. Less than 128 gigs of RAM, 3 gigs of VRAM. That is more realistic for a small farmer, not having to go out there and buy a 4090 with, 12 gigs of VRAM or whatever it is that it includes.
see, to me, this stuff is all just noise. Like it is
Okay.
such fringe details that don't influence the success. Like, you know, the plot format
Mm-hmm.
isn't why Chia is doing garbage, right? Like in the market. The the farming technologies have no bearing on whether or not CNI succeeds at their goal of being a successful business and making money, or if farmers get paid properly. Like because it's an arms race. It's exactly like Bitcoin. Like getting the bigger machine doesn't matter as long as the next guy can also get the bigger machine because he's just going to get the bigger machine too, and it's going to even
Right.
right out again.
Right.
And so, like, I don't want to take away like if there's been serious work here and there's this is good, this is gold. This could all possibly be true. I agree with a lot of the background that this guy talks about, like about how
Yes.
Chia has done stuff. Uh, he seemed to not know that they were even selling the pre-farm, which is hilarious. So I don't know there. And then there's the Chinese proverb that he talks about that I think is why you think he's Chinese. And
Yeah, this is where
I
it leads
just
me to think that, he's
like
obviously, within that. And plus the way his English and sentence structures are combined
it
is
sounds like like a combination of machine translated and like
right.
English as a second language,
Right.
right? Like where somebody
Exactly.
kind of knows English but is trying to like flesh it out a lot more so that it
Exactly.
comes across like
Exactly.
he clearly put a lot of work into this. I don't want. I made a joke in here. I logged in and posted for the first time in forever on forum to make a joke about it because I think it's ridiculous that he's gonna and he wants. Can we talk about how much he wants? Because I think that's like
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Definitely. I
he
but
wants
there's
a third
definitely
of the
more
pre-farm.
points to it, but Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
He wants
I
a third of the pre-farm,
the
and he
third of the
wants them to
pre-farm.
send it. So then he also wants them to pay him for his time, which
Yeah.
is how much time he put in. He doesn't say, uh, or whatever, right? And he wants to. So this is the thing. He wants them
Right
to
here.
pay him in USDT, and he put his address in. This is like a demand, right? But
Yes.
then this is the one that I want to get to because this is so stupid that like it invalidates to me a lot of what he's talking about. So he wants them to send a third of the pre-farm of an open
Uh-huh.
contribution fund to a multi-sig address, right?
Mm-hmm.
There it is that he
Right here.
already created and presumably controls all of the signatures that go into that. So it's just to send this to my wallet that is a multi-sig
But
wallet.
do
So
you feel that this is an open invitation for negotiation to see how far they're willing to believe him?
I think they shouldn't even respond to this.
Really?
Like again, like it's noise. Like the plot format is such a non sequitur issue to the problems with the Chia blockchain that
Mm-hmm.
like I hope that I don't know. Like this is
You
the
don't
kind of
think
thing.
that contributes to the fall and the issues that they're coming across with all these different farmers not wanting to continue because of all these different platforms? It's even
No, I
confusing to
think
myself at this point.
I think that it's all like the distraction away from the fact that they don't make any money and they don't have any customers and no one wants to use their garbage software.
That too. Okay. No,
Like
that's fair.
they've admitted that basically they have that cloud thing coming, right? That
Right.
like they know nobody wants to use their garbage.
I
'Cause-
think
and
the
again, blockchain, great idea, super good high level ideas. I like a lot of things about it. The actual software that an actual human person uses to interact with the actual blockchain is a piece of junk still, like years and years later. And
right.
like I guess
So
they're trying to fix some of it, but like frig.
let me ask you this: when no SSD came out, didn't they request some kind of negotiation
Yeah, I
or
think they wanted
wanted?
like $150,000 worth of Bitcoin or
Right.
something like that.
So look what happened. So the whole Nakamoto consensus, that people
They
join
made
no
so much more
SSD.
money than $150,000 worth of Bitcoin. So like if this guy has a thing, do an OSSD.
Well,
Make more
I think
but
what
this
he's
guy's
trying to
asking for like $50 million, so he's not
right.
actually money.
But what I feel like, I know he's trying to open up a negotiation tactic because you open high and then you come back
Yeah, I
down
guess.
but what I'm saying is
Opening high is that it's that for
he's
sure.
I
It's high
feel
as
like
hell.
he's trying to help Chia at the current moment.
Oh,
And
I think in his own mind, but it invalidates the ridiculousness of this part of it, like an open contribution fund that he manages,
mhm.
is like it's such a ridiculous component to it that like it doesn't matter. And again,
So
it's all about a new plot format, which I think
right.
is
So you
totally.
think he constructed this entire thread, this whole post, just to scam Chia out of one
No,
third
I
of
think that
the?
this guy's totally genuine.
You
I don't know if
serious?
he has what he has. I mean, friggin' Terrence Howard thinks 1 times 1 is 2, right? But
Right.
like, so I don't know if he's got anything for real. But I think this comes across as very genuine to me. There's a lot of hard work in here. Like
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
arguments make sense. Like there's nothing really to make fun of in the structure of what he's talking about here. That's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
making fun of his demand for $50 million because that part is seems tacked on and ridiculous compared. And then he's got like the what happens if the negotiation fails, and like there's all these
Right.
demands.
Right.
Like it's a little ridiculous from that sense. And if he'd made it in 2 posts, like the top post would be great and make a lot of sense about like where Chia has failed, and then the
Right.
bottom post would just be stupid and ridiculous, right? So like that's how I feel about this. But I
I
do
mean,
think like we've seen time and time again that Chia is not the best at doing their own game,
right.
right? That like Max and this Dr. Nick and the guy Harold or whatever from Blade Bit, like back in the day,
Right.
like
Right.
when it comes to making plot formats, so they're like fourth or fifth at best, right? Like they're not even second. So so the fact that this guy could sneak in and skate snake them, it makes perfect sense to me. Like I
I
believe that.
mean, I feel
Yeah.
confident that he has something.
Well, he thinks he does for
Otherwise,
sure.
he wouldn't be talking about it because, I mean, look at it this way. Chia existed for the last 4+ years now, right? Before even mainnet. Dr. Plotter came out when? Last half a year ago, a couple months ago,
I have no
and
idea, man. I don't
and,
care.
and they acquired him, right? It
Yeah.
definitely was not a talk or a thing when you were still involved in Chia,
No, no,
right?
that was totally new, and then they hired that
Right.
guy and sourced his stuff, and like
Right,
that's cool.
and it's a continuation of things and people evaluating, and you're gonna get different logic and different technology implemented to get to this point. Now, whether he has something legitimate or not, but from just based on this post, regardless of how much he's asking for, I really do feel like he has something genuine here that potentially can help Chia, and that's just my opinion.
He might,
Okay,
but help Chia how? I think like maybe make the blockchain better. I don't
mm-hmm.
think the quality of the blockchain is the problem. That's my thing. I
Right,
think that you can dial the knob on how good the blockchain is, like how secure it is, how good farming is, all that stuff. You can dial that knob as much as you want, and it makes no difference to anything else because that's not the problem. The
right.
problem is that the company is doesn't know what they're doing and isn't very good at like selling their services. Nobody wants this kind of service generally. The software sucks. Like, can you imagine in a demo, like
Oh
them
boy.
like demo the Chia wallet on for like enterprise custom? Like,
Oh
my
no,
God,
definitely not.
like I'm embarrassed for them. So like those are the things that will help in a
Right.
broad sense. And that's the stuff they keep saying that they give vague promises and like they allude to like good things coming. And like I started paying attention like 6 months ago again, maybe a year
Yeah.
ago, maybe. I don't even
Yeah, you
remember
did come
anymore.
back. Yes, I saw
I
that.
came back, but I've been relatively quiet, and then I
Right.
like paid attention to their Discord for a little bit, and it's just
Oh
painful
boy.
to see
I
how far they've come. Like it's like they've got Gene at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
like arguing with people as if he's some sort of hot shit, like he's CEO of some like failing company selling shit coins to pay payroll. Like, dude, man, you're not better than people.
I'm
Like,
glad
you're
I'm not
just
the only
not.
one saying this.
Yeah. Like I mean, in a lot of ways, I like the guy. I talk to him a lot of times, but like I
Right.
watch this and it's just embarrassing. Like,
It
have some
is.
dignity. Like, jeez.
But Chris,
And
going back to this post right now and the
yeah,
conclusion, I
sorry.
found I no, it's all right. I found this to be pretty entertaining.
Oh, they're definitely not going to IPO. I don't
Why
think so.
why why do you feel that way?
Well, they've been selling XCH, so that's probably an illegal security at this point since they've been selling pre-farm XCH.
So
Uh,
at this given point in time, if they mention anything about going IPO, they're full of shit.
I don't know, man. Maybe like
Hmm.
that's one of the things. Like I can't know for sure, but like it's been so many years. You know how many companies have come and gone like public in that
Yeah, I
time?
know. I know.
Like, and they've been right around the corner, just like every
They
crypto
even
firm
got
has
so
ever
desperate
made.
as to saying like they would go SPAC if they had to, and I said,
Like, do that then.
I made a video about that. That's just garbage. If you're gonna go SPAC, you might as well not even go that route, unless
Yeah, you're
you're
just
just
trying
money
to
hungry and
fleece
just trying to
investors.
grab money.
But also SPAC, I looked into that a little bit. Those mergers, they generally don't do it with unprofitable tech companies. So
Oh, exactly.
yeah. So they
You
want revenue and like they want you to be have a profitable model that'll grow or whatever. The Trump thing, the reason that there's so much like the DJT
yeah
merger or whatever, it's like a lot of looking into that because and somebody has already been charged uh from a different SPAC, I think, that they were like building the SPAC to
yeah
merge with that company, which is a big no-no. Like the
right.
SPAC has to already exist and go public before it can find the company it wants to merge with. So like to do it properly is actually very difficult. And the reason that you might think it looks easy in some cases is that in some cases they're not doing it properly.
Right.
They're starting with that goal in mind, and so like you can go SPAC shopping, and maybe that's the best move for them to raise some capital.
Well,
But
let me ask
also,
you this: aren't they? Isn't Chia really making money now?
no,
You don't think so? I think they
no,
are. They're
no.
selling 50,000
Oh,
XCH a
that
month.
you think that I don't consider that making money.
I mean, it's still money.
I guess it spends, but like calling
Uh,
that okay, calling that revenue is like stretching the English language like a Lululemon. Like, man, like that's just
I'm just playing with you, man.
yeah. They're. I think that they're selling shit coins to survive, like some behind the
What's
Wendy. kind of
What's
do.
even more intriguing is the fact that anyone's willing to accept it as
Well,
a
that's so
form.
crazy. Who's paying it? They're selling like $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Where's that $1 million coming from? Who is buying $1 million
Who is
a
that
month?
crazy? Exactly. Who is
Like
this
who,
delusional?
month after month after month. Like if you look at
I
the exchange volume, it's billions of dollars. Now that's obviously not true,
I heard
but like
seniors
over
get
the
conned a lot, Chris.
yeah, but nobody, man, seniors aren't
Maybe
getting caught by like
well,
BitTorrent
maybe
guy.
it's his grandma or something. I don't know.
It's his grandma's got a deep wallet, man. Like one of those big church purses. Because like man, like, but that's what I mean. But also, in order to, but then they're also claiming, like, I've seen a screenshot from the Chia Discord or whatever, where Gene's like,
Yeah.
we sell all this a month and it doesn't move the price. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, what's your claim on liquidity then? Is there like $50 million of liquidity deep? Is there like 100 million? Because that seems ridiculous to me. There's like 100 million US dollars of like idiots ready to buy XCH. Because like how much more will this go? How many more millions are there to pour into this?
So
This thing's gonna end, eh?
this we got like about 40 until 45, so we have about a little less than 10 minutes right now. So we're still
Okay.
good. Yeah. But look at this. Look at this. This another Chinese proverb here. So they're basically saying Chi can stand out amongst all, but it's choosing not to.
I agree.
Oh, no, sorry.
Like I'm not gonna criticize this guy for that. Uh, I do think that Chia needs to listen to some of this stuff
Mm-hmm.
and loosen the grip around the neck of this thing a little bit, because that's a lot of what he's talking about. Like if you
Right.
boil it down, is that like, hey, idiots, the community is doing this with no resources. Well, you're sitting on this dragon pile and we're kicking your butts. So why don't you lose, like, share the dragon pile a little bit, right?
Right.
And I fundamentally I agree with that. I think there's a 0% chance they do that. I think they're gonna. I think the actual answer is they're gonna take long vacations and sell XCH until the company quietly folds. Because like, why not? Like,
Right.
realistically, all these guys are most of these guys are already like Silicon Valley rich, and like, the ones that aren't, this is a cushy job. I can't
Right. Of
imagine
course.
them working too hard based on the pace of development. So
I did notice that I guess I don't know who's currently still working at Chia, but I feel like a lot of the originals are no longer relevant there. JD definitely has no purpose there anymore. I don't even know the gentleman that I interviewed last about the whole NFT stuff. I don't believe
no, I
efficient.
don't
I
think
don't I
he.
don't think
Yeah,
he's there. I think recently I saw somewhere or someone posted that even the chief marketing officer doesn't exist anymore, from my understanding. So there's a
no,
big there's I mean at this point what exactly is Chia doing? I mean they do still have videos that they release on their YouTube. Not a lot of viewership. I don't even know what the hell they're talking about for most of the time.
do you
And
watch them? Are you the
I
viewer?
I scanned through it
No,
because
man, you're the viewer.
I
You're
I'm
their
I'm one of
fan.
the viewers
You're the
because
fan.
I'm trying to see if it's even anything that's worth talking about, and there isn't.
No,
There is
no.
nothing worth talking about.
They spent so much time worried about negativity that they forgot the real enemy was apathy. And
Mm,
like, nobody cares. I don't care. I wouldn't start the blog up again. You couldn't pay me enough. Like, I guess you could pay me
I know.
enough. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. If anyone wants to pay me enough, feel free. I'll start it
Exactly.
right back up. But like,
Right.
but no, there's 0% that I would put my time into this voluntarily. Honestly, if I didn't like you as a person and already have a personal relationship with you, I wouldn't spend an hour talking about this today.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, yeah, like
And
for me, this is a bit of an excuse to catch up a little and have some laughs.
yes, I
But
don't even
like,
know how I was just thinking
yeah,
back when I first invited you back onto today, and I was like, I kind of forgot how we kind of clicked together in the beginning. Me
yeah,
talking about Chia, and then I forgot how it all got
I was
started,
the
but it was
butter.
pretty
You were
interesting.
you were like, I
Right.
was the original FUD, right?
You were
Like,
the original FUD,
yeah.
definitely. definitely.
Yeah, a OG like this play. They
But
need to fix this
you were
crap.
really professional about it. You didn't come out the gate and saying, "Well, Chia sucks," this and that.
No,
You were
they
just
need to fix
you
these things.
questioned, right?
And they still haven't, and
No,
they're still like they seem to be like finally heading in the direction of like maybe we need to do some of this stuff in order to get enterprise customers, like have a
right?
real load balanced solution, high availability, like SOC. You know, I heard
Yes,
G mention a SOC certification at one point. It's like, yeah, dude, I talked to you about that years ago.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but I feel that had they had someone like me that actually understood how to like sell software and solutions to big enterprises,
right.
uh, as opposed to all these Silicon Valley guys that know how to like deal with VCs and like
Yeah.
that world, which is wildly different. And I have no experience, and I can't do that part, but I
Do
can
you,
sell to banks,
do you
and
feel like Bram is no longer involved in all of this?
I very minimally, I think, and
Hmm.
like, and again, I don't know, CTO. It's possibly he does mostly people management and things like
You think
that.
so? Still managing
Maybe,
people? Hmm.
sure, why not?
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know what he likes to do,
Right.
and like he might. He doesn't seem to me the kind of guy that likes the public eye. So I
Hmm.
feel like when he has come out and done that, it's been rare, and he's either had something specific he wants to
I
talk
mean, it
about,
seemed
or
like he did that a lot in the past when he was younger. Definitely did a lot more in the past.
yeah, he also looked
Yeah.
like, like real intense and stuff. And I think he's
Right.
lost a lot of that because he's had a
Right.
family and like, you
Okay.
know,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm sure his priorities are, spend time with his kids and stuff like that, not Chia, right? So,
I feel like Chia, the community or the cult that they have, likes to definitely go against the things I say or the things I
oh,
don't
they
even
hate
feel like,
you. You're
I
the
don't even know,
heel. You're the wrestler on the ropes with the black mask, right?
I
Like
don't even know
ready
what
to
I
drop
did
the
or
elbow
said
on them.
that I offended anyone on there. I have
Oh,
no idea.
I have no man. I don't know. People haven't liked you from the beginning, and it's
That's
funny.
true. That's
But
true.
like, you're also the only reason anybody pays attention to Chia at all right now. So I don't know.
You know what
Without you,
gets
they
me the
have no
most?
one.
What gets me the most is every time these newcomers come on to the Chia Discord or I see like they're fairly new because I do follow it. I do
Yeah,
look
yeah,
and see it, right? So and they're like, oh, maybe that's the reason why he's poor, blah blah blah. Like, okay, I'm poor. I just have a whole bunch of shit that I could afford to buy, but I'm just poor, right?
I don't
So
think they understood the context behind your
no,
name.
they don't. And if they ever looked at my email, it's called Future Wealth. So
Yes, and also, if you step back and look at the like financial YouTuber space or whatever,
yeah,
it's always something like the names are very frequently like that. Like you were
right,
probably less original than you'd care to admit when creating that name
right,
because it is a
right.
bit of a thing, right? That like roaring
I
kitty,
wanted more. The reason why I
like
labeled it
it's the
poor
investment
investor.
strategy, right? Like
Yes,
it's sort of about the investment strategy, not about like the person itself, is what I mean,
right.
right? Like,
I
yeah,
felt like with poor investor, I had a more edgy feel
yeah,
than I labeled myself originally was future wealth. And I'm like, oh, okay, But poor investor is like, oh shit, I'm
yeah.
that's me.
I get it completely. Like it always reminded me of like a DFV or whatever from Wall
Right,
Street Bets, like Roaring
right,
Kitty.
right, right,
Like
right,
like it's sort of that, like you can sort of get what the investment strategy is from the name at like a real
right.
rough level. It's like not having a bunch of money to
I
put in.
mean, the the views per every thousand, and I'm just getting into it right now. It's like
Yeah,
for financial, it's high. It's like 15, like 15, $16 for every thousand views.
really.
So when they question like, oh, you no one like Gene's actually said one time on Discord, like, oh, you don't get that many views. No one's watching your shit. But meanwhile, I'm getting more views than Bram's video on Chia themselves, getting 100 couple of views versus the 2,000 or 3,000 I get.
So
I'm not
at the
bloating, but I'm just saying.
at the height of my blog, like when it was
Hmm.
at its busiest, I was getting between 8 and 15,000 unique views per article view.
Nice, right?
Uh, and at the very low end, when I like shut it down, and like there had been a lot of sporadicity at that point or whatever, it was like down to below 100.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
like people didn't like me at that point, and that's all cool and stuff. But like they, occasionally they would still like hate view me and like something would hit 1,000, but if one popped off sort of
Right.
a year later,
Yeah.
it would go to like 1,000 or 1,500 instead of like 15,
Nice.
20,000 or whatever,
Right.
right?
Right.
But like I
Yeah.
think my top one was like from back in the day. I think maybe like the Dust Storm article or something like that.
Yes.
Like I
Yes.
got more than like 50,000 on that. Like there
Right.
was a few of them that I had like huge numbers. So like the Chia community was at one point significant.
Right.
There was a lot
It
of people
was. It
had
was
eyeballs on it.
because it was new and it was still like fresh and you know, it's like, oh, I want to learn more. And
And
as people learned more,
and people could Google translate my page versus like
right.
your YouTube
Right. Well,
segment.
yeah, I mean, for me it was like, oh, can you put subtitles for this language? And I would literally go in there and start selecting Spanish, French, Russian and start putting all the languages.
Because yeah, there was a like it was
A
pretty
big
global, and
right.
I think that I had better numbers than you in digital spaceport because I could be. It was
Right.
easier to see in
Right.
other languages. But at the time, like you guys were getting like 5,000-6,000 views per video.
Yes. Yes.
I was getting like more than 10,000 per article.
Right. Right.
Chia was probably seeing significant traffic to their website, pretty regularly. Articles in and I know this from like they put an article on CoinDesk or whatever about Chia and hard drives
Hmm.
or whatever. It would do well compared to other cryptos.
Right.
We're interested in that.
Hmm.
Uh, and then it
So
died off like a mountain.
let me. I mean, I was always questioning. I actually reached out to Digital Spaceport and I mentioned that a little
Oh,
bit, but
how's he
yeah,
doing?
it was he was doing well. I don't
Good.
know why, what reasons he had for not making continuous YouTube videos, and you kind of could see his track record in the past. He's done YouTube for a very long time,
He was
and
starting
then
to get into the Unraid stuff, and that
right.
stuff was pretty good. I liked his
But
content
he
there. He had
got
a good
really
delivery there.
active with Chia, and
Yeah.
then he said that it just wasn't prosperous. It wasn't making what he expected to grow his channel, and then he diverted over to this whole Unraid and
Yeah.
home server labs and stuff like that, which was amazing because that's not cheap. Right, that's
Yeah.
definitely not cheap, and he found the purpose with that. Right, he started selling and making money on the side, whatever it is. But to have someone that was so pro Chia, having Gene on your channel and talking so positively about Chia, and then just stop. I mean, doesn't that speak volume to
Oh, it
what
does.
it hasn't, you know? But the only
Losing me,
person,
losing
right,
you, that's nothing, but losing him,
right.
like yeah,
But
that's
the
a
sad
blow.
part is that they only have us now.
Oh, they don't have me. No, they have
Well, I
you.
mean, you're here
They
with
have
me
you.
right now, so they still have
You
you.
have me. You have me.
I,
They don't have me. Like, yeah, no, let's be real. I only
yeah.
work with successful businesses, dude. So like the poor investor YouTube channel might be small, but I don't think you're in a ton of debt, are you? Oh, you miss me, don't you?
But for some reason they feel like I'm the threat. I don't know.
I
I
know.
don't understand that. I haven't done anything unless my voice. They feel like my voice is so strong that I can divert people away from this project.
No, they don't even think that you're a threat. It's just somebody that they can point to that be like, laugh at this guy instead of us.
Probably.
Like otherwise, you got to point at the clown, or you are the clown, right? Like I guess in middle school,
Hmm.
California middle school, there. So
I guess so. Yeah, I
yeah,
do. I
I
get
see.
that.
So I tend to look at all this through the lens of Silicon Valley. I think you and I have had this discussion before. That
Yeah.
I see them as like a really prototypical Silicon Valley company rather than
Yes.
like necessarily a crypto company.
Right.
And I think that if they were that, they would have failed in their arrogance still. They would have gone bankrupt. And because they've
Right.
got this free farm of crypto coins, they can sell those and not go bankrupt.
Right.
But it doesn't bring any humility. They still have the Silicon Valley, like we're the best, we're disrupting all this, we're going to do everything amazing. And it's like, man, nobody wants your stuff. Make a change. You got to change something.
We're
Like
gonna
the
be
market
better
is
than
broken.
Bitcoin, but
Yeah.
we're gonna always compare ourselves to Bitcoin.
And the market has spoken. They're
Right.
not. Like
Exactly.
that answer has been had. The market is not unaware, right? Like the market is aware. It has flirted with Chia from time to time, and they have said no, thank you. We do
Right.
not want your weird little leaf coin.
So,
And
I probably asked you this in the past, and we haven't spoken for years on the last video, whatever it is, right? I think the last time we actually did a video was when you did your marmot, right?
yeah, it was like a year ago or
Yeah,
2 years
has
ago
it?
now.
Oh yeah,
two
it's
years ago,
definitely.
it
I
was,
think it feels
yeah,
like it's been longer, but
it's 2 years. Yeah.
we're now that we're in our fourth year. I said I was going to stick around with Chia for 5 years,
I
and
said I'd stay with you, and then fucked off.
Where do you feel Chia will head towards as time progresses? Where are we? Where are they
I
going to
mean,
end up being? What do you feel like they're going to be able to do in the next year
so
or two?
I think that if they were to keep on course,
Hmm.
they will fail. And now, whatever that looks like, I think it means that eventually there will be no liquidity for the
What is
exchange.
their course? The IPO you're talking about,
Like
or
whatever they're doing right now, I don't even know, man.
I don't even
Like,
know what
like
the hell they're doing.
that's what I mean. They're building some stuff.
New
They're filling
new platform at.
sure, but like, is that going to help anything? Do they have
No,
customers that'll use that? So, like, let's say, let's do some math here, right? They need about $10 million of revenue a year to survive for a company that big, like, then taxes and expenses
of
and blah blah
course,
blah,
of
all that
course.
stuff. So, about $10 million. Let's call it 12 because that's $1 million a month, and that's easy to work with.
Yeah,
So if they need that, then they need what? They need like at least 10 customers paying $100,000 a month,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
In order to become like cash flow
And
positive.
it's never gonna happen.
Like what? No, or they need what? One customer giving them $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Like that's government contracting. Like now we're into like, like
Yes.
federal contracting that you sure you can do that, but then you've got a FedRAMP, you've got to run your business a certain way. Like they're not equipped to
Of
be a
course.
federal contractor,
Of
right?
course.
Like I think you've worked for the Fed, like you've done
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have probably a better idea than I do. And I've helped a company with a FedRAMP before. So like I have
Right.
a pretty good idea. And they're what 2 years probably if they focused on it entirely they could FedRAMP in 2 years. Like that's a company that size, they're pretty quick, so
But
they could probably
remember, with the federal and government space,
yeah,
you're just a bidder until
that's
they
what I mean.
actually
Yeah, and then
yeah.
they can
So
bid.
yeah, you have to bid, but there's other
You have to FedRAMP and then you can get on the list to bid.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not there's no guarantee.
no,
There's no guarantee. So,
no,
during
so
that whole time of transition or waiting for something
they've
like
got
that,
nothing.
they have nothing. They have
they're
nothing. They
selling they're
claim to
selling
be
crypto.
selling their service, but I don't know what it is that they're selling. What is
But
it that they're
who's
trying?
buying? Like, and like they don't announce any customers. Like, if you're a company like a startup software company and you nag a
Oh,
new
you
logo,
would, yeah, you
you
would
put it
blow it
on your
about.
website. You
Yeah,
you
yeah,
put it on LinkedIn. You're like you have a picture with your CEO and their
yeah.
CEO doing the handshake
Exactly.
thing,
Or
right?
or
Like
like, oh, we're partners with Microsoft or
or
Google or
or the new
something.
one, right? There'll be a speaker on a box and there'll be like a circle of people around the speaker on the box, right? Like where's Gene on his box with
Right,
like his
right.
customers around, right? Like
Or
because
maybe the drive the recycle drive initiative, whatever. I don't know how they
oh,
make
maybe
money off of
that'll
that.
do something.
I don't even
That's
know if they make any money off of that. They can't even
Well, I
make
don't
money
think
off
they
of that.
do. I think that's just a
No.
good idea. And like honestly, I'm not going to criticize them for doing that. I think that was pure JM. I think JM's a saint of a man. Like
Right.
I don't
Right.
think that I wouldn't criticize a single thing that he's done. I think he's a good guy in all
Okay.
ways. And I think that he is probably more than anybody a victim of Chia because I think he probably like polluted his resume a little bit
Mm.
by working at Chia because he had
Oh,
a
yeah.
future, and I hope that he didn't derail it by getting into crypto.
I
Like for
wonder what
real.
he's doing now.
Yeah, me neither. But like,
Yeah.
because the guy actually was legit for all
Yeah.
their staff. Like they have some competent staff or whatever, but from an industry perspective,
Yeah.
he was the real deal.
Yeah.
And I hope
There
he
was
still is.
there was another Chia employee, ex Chia employee that was always talking shit about me, not knowing anything. As in, I think it's Sagonis, so Sag,
Or
whatever.
Sargonis?
Yeah.
Well, but
What's
you
up?
don't know anything, so it's fine, right? No.
I don't know. Like, I feel like every time I say something, I offend him. But even he's not an employee over there anymore. I still find like it still offends
Options,
him for.
dude. Got to pump that bag.
What is he doing? Do you know?
No, I think he's working still in Silicon Valley. He's legit from the game industry too, right? So like
Okay. Oh, like efficient.
and
Yeah.
yeah, he's a professional loudmouth though, right? So like he does
Yeah.
PR
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
relations and
Yeah.
stuff. So like yeah, he's an
He
attack
still.
dog and you were
Yeah.
you were the bone.
Yeah,
So I
but he
wouldn't
still
give
comes
that.
and supports the ex employer for
Yeah,
whatever reason. I don't.
options.
Yeah. I guess. I guess.
He's got stock options. So if they
Yeah.
IPO, he makes money. And if they don't,
There was a discussion one time, and I'll end it here. There was a discussion one time about this company trying to sell shares of Chia,
oh
and
yeah.
I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, I think that was a total scam. I know somebody that bought one. I
Really
tried to buy one, but I couldn't sync my wallet up. It was a whole disaster.
interesting. Interesting.
I was
Yeah, it
gonna buy
was trying to like sell make believe shares of Chia that didn't
Yeah,
exist
so
yet.
they were selling. They were saying that they had options that they could buy private shares in Chia, and that they would sell ownership, like fractional ownership of that share or whatever, through some crypto token.
Right.
And it's like, this is some illegal, shady stuff. Not to
Yeah.
buy it. Buying it
Right.
seems
Yeah.
perfectly legal,
The whole
but like,
process and what they were trying to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
selling
I
it seems extremely illegal. Uh,
Interesting. Right.
so I don't know. I think that that went away. Um,
Okay.
you want to
You
buy
still
some
have your
shares?
farm
Yeah,
up?
I got some under my coat. I got some CNI shares for
You still have your farm up, or it's shut down now?
you. Like
Off.
years away. Oh yeah, I
Really?
sold it. Oh yeah, a long time ago.
Okay. How did you sell it? Where did you sell it on? Was it KuCoin or?
I turned it into a gaming computer and I kept the drives for my storage server.
Oh, okay. Oh no,
Yeah,
I meant the XCA. Oh, you didn't earn that much, right? Because it was such a small farm. Was that?
yeah, I didn't have a lot of farmed
Oh,
XC.
okay. Oh, you're talking
Yeah,
about the hardware, right? Right. Right.
yeah, I sold the hardware off. I no more. I made most of my money off XCH off my blog, man.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah, I think when we talked, I don't know if it was you or if it was Digital Spaceport, but for a while I was making more in ad revenue than like one of you guys were
yeah,
on
you
YouTube.
told me that. Yeah, you told me
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
making like five
I
or
don't
six
doubt
hundred
that.
US a month.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that.
it was pretty successful. Like I say, there were real eyeballs. It was busy. I had
Oh
to like
yeah,
mess with
because
Cloudflare so
not
the site.
everyone wanted to jump on Keybase. Not everyone is on Discord. I, for one, I hate Discord. I just go on it because everyone else is on it, like,
Yeah.
looking and trying to find out more information. But ultimately, static web pages are a thing because you get to not having to scroll through thousands of freaking nonsense in order to find what you want to read about,
Oh,
right?
it's the whole
So,
thing is terrible.
right,
And on purpose.
right,
I think
right.
like to run a company like that anyway. Like I wouldn't run a business like that. I have,
Yeah,
I feel bad for Chia that it's a disaster other than the fact that that's what they chose to do, to
right.
run a business like in public like that.
Yeah,
But why? Right? Like
yeah.
just putting yourself through, like, we're here making fun of Gene, like why would you put yourself in that position?
I don't think I'm making fun of him. I don't think we're
Oh
making
God, I
fun.
will.
I think I'm just more cynical of the company itself, the direction it took, the lies that it presented, and then
Yeah.
trying to pretend like it didn't happen or it was meant to be.
That's what I mean. Yeah, rewriting history and like gaslighting the community and being
Right.
like, we didn't say that we weren't going to sell the pre-farm. We conditionalized it. And it's like, yeah, the
And
condition was we aren't going to do it. And
right.
like, yeah, like,
So I think even at this point, if you went back to like Son of a Tech, him questioning Brand why you had so much of the pre-farm, I'm pretty sure Son of a Tech would say that he was right all along.
oh, for sure. You want to talk to him? I should reach out.
You should definitely reach out to
I
him.
should reach out and say like, hey, you want to check out the
I bet
crypto?
he doesn't even know how far Chia has gone selling the
Oh, I'm sure he
pre-farm.
doesn't. And I think that he would be surprised to see that like a lot of what he predicted would
Honest,
happen
I
happened.
don't think he
Oh,
would
you know
even be
what?
surprised.
I don't think he would be surprised either, actually. I think he's been in this space
I
long
told you
enough. And
so.
he has a lot of experience in this kind of stuff.
Right.
Uh, like he has a bit of a silly outlook or whatever, like for his video
Yeah, yeah. I
persona,
mean,
right? Like
that's
he has
fair.
a
Yeah.
goofy Texan cowboy kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
Uh, but the guy is very sharp.
I'm
Like so, like
sure.
he and I talked a lot, like
Yeah.
at the beginning or whatever, and he was very sharp and intuitive about like, and he basically told me, don't put money into this.
Right.
And I was
Right.
like, I'm not an idiot, man. Don't worry, right?
Yeah.
But like, he's like, no, no, no. Like, I see a lot of guys that like get like a little bit of popularity in some particular crypto space or something like that, and then they pour all their money into it and like go all in and
I was
stuff.
very fortunate. You remember Mike? I had him on here a long time ago.
Yeah,
He
I
was
remember
like the
that guy.
first whale.
Yeah,
He sent me a box of hard drives that he
yeah.
didn't want anymore because he upgraded to like 10, 12 gigs or whatever, terabytes, sorry. And he sent me all his 3 and 4s in a whole box.
People give you like donations and stuff.
Yeah,
You know how many donations I got the whole time I
the
ran the site?
Exagrid. I was in shock when people, and then I had Red Panda give me like all these like GPU mining stuff that he sent over, and I was like, wow, it was
You know how many
amazing.
donations I got the whole time I ran the blog?
What? How many?
Zero.
Zero.
I got nothing. Nobody ever donated because I was a jerk. So
Oh boy.
So they don't remember. So when they talk about you being the fudder man,
Yeah.
they have
They
that's
don't.
like
Yeah.
selective memory. And they're like, oh
Yeah.
man, big bad Chris is gonna
I,
come
I
in.
think I remember when I first read your article about the whole lawsuit, and that's how I connected with. That's when I
Yeah,
wanted to speak
yeah.
with you. I was like, what the hell happened? Like, what the hell is it that they're trying to do? That
They tried
now I
to bully
remember.
me, and I told them to go F
Yeah.
themselves because
Yeah.
that's who I am. So like, again, I've been over this, but like, it always spoke to me about their lack of care.
Right.
Like, you don't start something like that unless you're gonna win, right? Like
Yeah.
that's and
Well, I think they had someone else in charge at that time that
yeah,
was
but that's what I'm
overseeing that.
saying. That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you don't let junior people make decisions like that unless
Right.
they're certain they're gonna win. And like there's a lot of you can't make stupid mistakes like that. And even had they like we knew people like Gene and I know people in common, right? And
Yeah. Oh,
had
you mean
he
like in real world?
yeah. And
Outside of Chia?
yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah. So
Interesting.
I that's how I got the lawyer and everything like that. I'm
Right.
connected to people in
Right.
Silicon Valley, right? Like I know what I'm
Right.
doing.
Right.
And so had he even like looked me up and like figured trying to do anything or had somebody, they might have been like, oh, let's leave this guy alone. Like, because I'd written for Tech Dirt before.
Right.
So it's like you're not gonna bully me with a IP thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
so like
Exactly.
that's what I'm saying. Like, so like these kind of unforced errors where they
Mm-hmm.
just don't pay any attention to something and then they like blunder
And
into it.
I'm
And, I
pretty
don't
sure
know.
they spent a pretty penny on that alone.
They
Just
spent money
doing
on the most wild,
yeah,
ridiculous things, like
crazy
those
stuff.
Time
Yeah.
Lords.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the
That's their
difference.
income. That's another
That's the
source of income.
revenue for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
they sold Time Lords to
Selling
suckers.
Raspberry Pi, bigger evergreen miners as Time Lords for $1,000.
It's like, but like these are the kind of decisions. It's like it's hard to say that they're wrong because like the Time Lord, sure, from a technical perspective, it does all sorts of great stuff or whatever. But like, was that the problem? Was that the best way that you could spend
No.
$5 million or whatever it costs to develop and
Did they need
manufacture
the
that?
Time Lord because of the inefficiency of running a client or a node?
No, I think it was because if CPUs got fast, like you would be eventually be able to like do takeover attacks if there were like different
Right.
speeds of them and like, but like this is a problem for when the blockchain is big
Yeah.
and like you can't solve all the problems that don't exist
R-
yet
right.
because you're too scared to solve the problems that do, which is like we don't have any customers and
But
nobody gives a crap about our stuff.
I just don't think they know what the problem is. They just encounter it as it comes, and then they
Well,
start
they
dealing
got to
with it.
know that they don't have any they don't have any customers. Like, what are they like?
Mm.
I mean, like,
Maybe to them they feel like they
like,
do.
and
I
this
don't
is one
know.
of those things that I didn't want to talk about because I never could figure out if it was like if I was just missing something and not finding it or whatever. But
Yeah.
like the World Bank publishes all of their contracts and everything, like right. And like I went looking and I couldn't
I
find,
almost forgot about that one
yeah, I couldn't find any indication that World Bank ever paid them.
because it was just all talk.
But like, yeah, so like maybe they did, but
Yeah.
if so, then it's not in the World Bank's regular like contract database or whatever. So like I don't, but they have
Because
contracts as low as like $5,000 in there. So
well,
like,
yeah. But when you speak about World Bank, it's almost like you're dating someone and they just low key like just start ghosting you. It was like, hey, it was nice knowing you. That was it. They drop you. That's it.
it's like there's a blur Photoshop line between the two of you in the selfie, right? Like,
I don't know what that whole World Bank was supposed to accomplish. To be honest, it never. I don't feel like it ever happened. I think it was just all
well,
talk.
if you go to the Climate Action Data Trust website or whatever,
You
that
don't
you
see
can see like
Chia.
new projects and like
Yeah,
there's been none in like the last three
no
months.
Chia. There's no Chia in any of the I mean, only Chia kept talking about the World Bank.
Yeah.
It wasn't the other way around.
No, there was some documents during the actual like proof of concept phase and everything like that.
Uh huh.
I published some World Bank documents and everything that talked about Chia specifically and like
Oh, okay. And then
yeah, it
they
was a
probably met
candidate,
Gene, and
but it
then they'd
was
be
still
like,
when it
"Fuck."
was in the candidate
Yeah.
phase. So like
Okay.
there's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
In the candidate phase, until they spoke to Gene and be like, "Nah, fuck this."
Yeah, like this guy's a little arrogant and doesn't know what he's doing. But like unsophisticated. So, but
Oh
like I
man.
don't want to trash on the guy too bad. He's having a
All
rough
right. Fine. Fine.
Like he's
Fine.
having a rough time, man. He's got a failed business. I don't know if he's got alimony, but I got alimony, so like I don't
All
know.
right.
Like I can
Fine.
feel for him, but the guy seems angry. He gets like mad at
Yes.
like five people that still talk to him like in Discord or whatever, and he gets like
Seriously.
drunk
Yeah.
and
If you
like
don't
yells
say
at
the
people
right
at
thing,
2 o'clock in
or
the
you don't
morning.
say what he wants to hear, he'll just ignore you or ban you.
If
Or
you criticize it, it's the same old criticisms all the time made by
yeah,
idiots. And it's like, well, then friggin' address one, dude. Like
right,
if people have the
right.
same criticisms over and over again, like address one.
And then
Fix it.
somewhere
I don't know.
somewhere along the lines, he'll fit in the whole idiot YouTuber, blah blah blah.
That's you though. Like it's a love letter to you, man. You just can't. You live in his head like a little corner. You got a little
I,
corner
I
office in the
still
back of
don't
his
even
brain.
know which portion of it that I ticked people off. I really don't know.
You
But
were so positive. That's why I made the point about like the donations and everything because I think people forget that like
mm,
people used to talk to me about like you should be like poor investor because like I
really,
was negative and you were the positive, right?
oh
And when
boy,
when we would talk, you would have this laugh and you were a little more critical, I think, than like the average cultist, right?
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
but you were
yeah,
pretty optimistic and
right.
you were careful not to be negative without like strong
Pissing,
purpose, I think,
yeah, exactly,
right? Like
exactly.
so but I think you would get stuff wrong. Like you might have a detail wrong here or there, and people would jump on that and be like, "This guy
Right.
doesn't know
That's
what he's
always the
talking about."
case.
It's
Whether
like,
you're right or wrong, people will still jump on it.
yeah. But you
So,
and I also maybe it's time you should admit that because you and I had this conversation like years ago. But you sometimes did said stuff wrong for engagement, right? So
oh
like I
yeah.
think people forget that
Oh
like
yeah,
you're
definitely.
still a YouTuber,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like the best way to get a comment
Or
is to correct you, right?
or
So
I
like
have a lot of clickbait, or
yeah,
like clickbait titles. Like
that's what I mean.
I
Like
like the BW Free said, "Oh, that was a clickbaity title." No, Chia is
yeah,
dead. No, it's not clickbait.
it also was. It got people to click, right? Like that's
Yeah,
what the purpose
exactly.
of the title is.
And I even told BW Free, like, look, Bram just had a video come out on Chia Network YouTube, official YouTube. It had lower engagement than people wanting to see you and me talk about Chia. It's weird. It's definitely weird.
Not
You don't
weird.
want to see the creator himself speak about Chia, but you rather see two guys who are shit pissed, or I'm not even shit pissed, but he was shit pissed, and I was just like, whatever, you know. I'm just doing it for the views. So,
It's
but it
I don't
was
know, man.
good,
I don't think it's
Chris.
worth your time.
Yeah,
I don't think it's worth your time. I think that you're good and that you it's amusing to you
it's
and so
fun.
you'll
It's
spend your
fun.
time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But like at this point, like you are a smart guy and your time, like if you were talking about something else, I think it would also be fun. Anyway,
Oh, definitely. I'm still
yeah.
trying to find, something like that. But at the same time, Chia's still a thing, and it's not like I'm committed to it. I just feel like certain things were popular, and I just wanted to kind of keep it a little bit.
I'm
Most of my
glad you're still doing it.
engagements, yeah,
I'm
most of
glad you're
my,
still doing it because there's a line of continuity, right? That like you were
yeah,
doing videos about Chia like right at the beginning before I was writing the blog. You had videos about Chia.
right, right.
It was one of your videos about Chia I think that got me into it, and
Really? Oh my God.
it,
Sorry,
it was
sorry.
either well, no, well, it was either right when I either heard about it from one of your videos, like right when
Right.
mainnet launched, or it
Yeah.
was immediately like when I went looking, or I heard about it and then went looking
Okay.
into it and then found your videos. Like I'm not
Right.
sure which it was because I watch a
There
lot of
was
you.
plenty of Chia content.
Caleb
Plenty.
just
Caleb
disappeared
was the
like a
first
fart
of
in
the
the
first. I
wind,
watched Caleb and then started doing mine.
like a
So he
fart in
was
the
like the
wind,
first.
just disappeared like a vampire ghost,
But
right?
then
Like
right after that, then there was a good half a dozen or a dozen Chia related channels with the name Chia in them.
some big YouTubers, some big mining YouTubers were
Yeah.
getting into it, and like
And then
they
they
were
all
talking
stopped.
about it,
So they all stopped.
like
But
well that was the thing.
yeah,
I was still like trying to like because they jumped on me so fast or whatever. I was still like
yeah.
researching about Chia, and I found out about Son of a Tech when I was like because one of his Chia videos, and then he started talking about me, and I posted a comment. I'm like that feeling when you're like watching some video and they start talking about you, right? Like it was like some round table with
Yeah,
some
yeah.
YouTubers or whatever, and it's like so that's when he reached out to me and we started talking. But like
No,
yeah,
that's
it
awesome.
was
Yeah.
it was in the zeitgeist for a very short amount of time. Now, if you go into cryptocurrency channels, they'll be like, who, what, where, why.
Yeah.
And like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But
it's
no,
just
I thank you. We definitely should, keep in touch more often. I appreciate you. I know we've been over this for like a whole hour already. My last request to you is please reach out to Son of a Tech and see what his feelings are about
I
that.
will.
If even if
I'm gonna
he
message
knows or
him on
not
Twitter
know.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do that and let me know how that goes. And
I
I'll
will.
keep
He'll
in
probably
touch with
ignore
you
me
on
because it's
Discord.
Chia.
Ah. Ah. All right, Chris, I appreciate you, man. I'll definitely catch up with you on the Discord.
Hope I don't get sued. See you later,
All
man.
right, talk to you later. Take care. Bye.